My player correctly guessed the answer to a mystery in my lore. Should I just tell him that he's right? I'm the DM for a homebrew campaign. Long story short, my players encountered an ancient deity who has taken the form of a human child. They don't know this, just that the child possesses great divine power. This ancient deity is also connected to the backstory of my monk player and is the deity his people worship. Here's where the problem comes in. My barbarian player rolled a decent history check in regards to the monk's backstory. I then told him something along the lines of, you know that the ancient deity the monk worships arrived in his culture about 1,000 years ago. The barbarian player then had a eureka moment and connected all the dots. He proceeded to correctly guess all of the secret lore behind this ancient deity, and then correctly guessed how I was planning on incorporating this information into the main plot. The barbarian player also managed to convince the monk player of this theory's validity. I was happy too, because it meant that the plot I was weaving wasn't too convoluted for my players to figure out. But I'm wondering now, should I tell my barbarian player that he was 100% spot on, or should I wait for the party to find concrete evidence to prove his theory? I don't want to just tell him that he took a shot in the dark and was right, because that would feel like a cheap victory, but I also feel like I ought to reward him somehow for guessing it right, and that I shouldn't just ignore his perfect guess. Any advice? Great question, and very cool situation that you and your players have created. I've said something similar before, but if my players ever figure out something earlier than I expect them to, my reaction is always just, okay, fair is fair. When this happens, I think some DMs have a knee-jerk reaction to retcon things in order to preserve some grand reveal for later on, but it doesn't sound like you're considering that, which I think is a good thing. As always, you know your table better than I do, but if I were in this situation, I would just do nothing. It would be business as usual. Keep feeding them the clues as you would have if they had not figured it out. The more clues they get, the closer they get to confirming their suspicions. This flavor of drama is a little different than the one you had before, but it's still drama. Plus, this is what I consider to be one of the very few times where a red herring would go great. Give them a bunch of small clues that point towards the truth, but one medium clue that points somewhere else. This reintroduces some doubt into their minds and can give even more drama to your eventual reveal. And when that revelation finally arrives, your barbarian can say, aha, I knew all along, and feel like they were clever. Which they were.